As a runoff presidential elections is underway in Uruguay, the country's electoral court informed more than 62% of citizens have exercised the right to vote as of early afternoon. Voting centers have opened since 8 a.m. local time to receive more than 2,700,000 people summoned to vote. Uruguayans are called to choose their next head of state among candidates Álvaro Delgado for the National Party and Yamandu Orsi from the Broad Front. According to the experts, the race to the presidency between the continuity of the current privatizing model represented by Delgado and the return of the left in the hands of Orsi is close to call.
I hope everything goes well. Whatever the result, may it be the best choice for the country. May we continue to move forward. May we continue to grow, especially our youth. I also hope that the country can continue to grow and that it does not stagnate.
I only ask the government for safety, to be able to go out in the street with peace of mind, as an old person, as a young person, as a child.
In this context, a few hours before the beginning of the Sunday's runoff elections process, both Uruguayan campaign commands denounced valued irregularities. In this regard, the president of the Electoral Court, Wilfredo Penco, confirmed on Saturday that complaints were received throughout the week. Precisely, the National Party reported sheets with date errors, while the Broad Front points out printing details and differences in the paper's thickness. In this context, the president of the electoral body highlighted that in case of any irregularity, there are legal guarantees to address them and protect the right to vote. Let's take a look at the context in which this election day takes place in Uruguay.
This Sunday, November 24th, some 2.7 million Uruguayans are called to the polls to elect the next president and vice president for the 2025 to 2030 term. According to the National Electoral Council, polling stations open from 8 a.m. local time, and the day is expected to end at 7:30 p.m. local time. The first preliminary results are expected to be ready around 9:30 p.m. local time. On this second day of elections, voting will be mandatory for those who are registered with the National Electoral Council. Voting will be on a first-come, first-served basis in the electoral circuits, which will operate with voting commissions, made up of 3 members. Let us remember that in the general elections, the Broad Front was the most voted with 43.9% of the votes, while the Republican coalition obtained 26.7%. In this sense, at the legislative level, the Broad Front achieved a majority in the Senate, consolidating its presence in the Congress, although the Chamber of Deputies remained without a majority for either of the 2 blocs. This electoral process faces the challenge of retaining the scattered votes from the first round and mobilizing its political machinery, which includes subnational governments in 15 of the 19 departments of the country. It is also taking place in the midst of high levels of insecurity, drug trafficking, unemployment and poverty, central issues for the next presidential administration.
Now let's meet a candidate for the presidency for the Broad Front Party, Yamandu Orsi. Since his youth, Yamandu Orsi have been part of the Broad Front. He was elected mayor for 2 consecutive terms in the department of Canelones, the second most populated in Uruguay, returned with 64% of citizens' approval. The leftist candidate in the first round obtained 43.9% of the votes, recovering his presence in the Congress. In this sense, Orsi, together with his government, pledged to boost the country's economy, to provide quality education, and privatize labor, the housing, and health policies, with an emphasis on social justice. And now let's meet the candidate for the National Party, Álvaro Delgado. Delgado is a former secretary for the presidency of the current government of Luis Lacalle Pou. The candidate assured that his objective is to conquer the electorate to ensure the continuity of the current government project, which is characterized by the neoliberal approach. However, Delgado, in the first electoral round, obtained 26.7%, although the Chamber of Deputies was left without a majority of any bloc. Delgado in the second round will have the support of other parties, although he has generated controversy within his own party. The Central Electoral Bureau of Romania detailed that around 27% of eligible voters have gone to the polls so far. Even though 13 candidates are vying for presidency, experts estimate both ballots will be turned by the leader of the far-right Alliance of the Unity of Romania, George Simeon, and outgoing Prime Minister Marcel Ciolacudo, representing the leftist Social Democratic Party. Nevertheless, none of them is expected to reach the absolute majority in the first rounds of elections. As a result, the runoff is scheduled to be on December 8 from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time. In this context, presidential nominee Ciolacudo made some statements.
I voted for stability, for balance and social equity, and also, not least, for peace.